Aardman finally returned to claymation animation. However, is this a home run for them or a misfire? Let's find out. Aardman, directed by creator of Wallace and Gromyko himself, Nick Park, and is the latest animated comedy from the creme de la creme of claymation animation, Aardman. Now, Aardman tells the falsely advertised story of a tribe of cavemen have their homeland taken away from them by the Bronze Age people, and in order to win back their valley, the cavemen challenge the Bronze Age to a match of football. That's literally the entire plot of Aardman. It's caveman football. Now, Aardman were one of the animation studios like Disney and Pixar and DreamWorks that defined my childhood. I considered classics like Chicken Run and The Curse of the Were-Rabbit to be not only their two best movies so far, but some of my favourite animated movies of all time. Aardman should have been one of my most anticipated movies of 2018 since I am a die-hard Aardman supporter. And don't get me wrong, Leica are also masters of claymation animation, but even they can't beat Aardman. And while Aardman is great fun, sad to say it's one of Aardman's weaker feature-length movies for sure. As it's passable family entertainment, but nothing more than that. Not as ambitious as their earlier works. So let's start out with my positives, because Aardman is, from a claymation animation standpoint, a technical marvel, especially the stadium sequences. They are incredible, and as a huge fan of claymation myself, I've actually even attempted claymation. I know how painfully slow the entire process is, so I have the utmost love for the animators for putting all the detail into this movie that they did. If Aardman gets an Academy Award nomination for its animation, I wouldn't be surprised. And as even though the characters in this movie are a mixed bag, the majority of them thankfully did have charms to them. The cavemen were hilarious and all had their individual personality traits, so you could pick apart each one. And Guna, one of the Bronze Age girls, she is the most interesting of the Bronze Age bunch by far, since she's the one character from the villains side of the story who joins our heroes in winning the football match. And my favourite character in the entire movie easily is Hognog. He's the prehistoric pig equivalent of Gromit. He never has any lines of dialogue, however he expresses his emotions through grunts and facial expressions, and Aardman have never disappointed when it comes to showing and not telling through facial expressions of characters. And Hognog, fun fact, is voiced by Nick Park himself, and Nick Park should do voice acting more often after this performance. And Aardman's delightfully entertaining. The comedy excels, and it even surprisingly has some sexual innuendo humour, which rightfully warrants it the PG rating. And there's one gag that was just having me and my family laughing so hard our sides were splitting when the lead character Doug is just falling down these stairs constantly, and the stairs literally never end. Man, that joke was classic. But I'm afraid, guys, this movie does have its fair share of issues that let it down from being a Aardman masterpiece. So let's get to my negatives. Yeah, on paper, the story sounds just like a generic football competition story. If you thought that going in, you are right. The story is painfully paper thin and simplistic and completely and utterly predictable. I predicted everything that would happen as soon as I heard this movie was taking the direction of a football competition movie. You know there are going to be some training montages. You know our heroes are going to come out on top at the end. And that's exactly what happens. I didn't even need to spoil that. So don't go in expecting a deep or epic story because it doesn't have that to offer, I'm afraid. And even though Nick Parker directed this movie, damn, he's doing his hardest to make even a footballer story sang grand and epic. But even he can't elevate this dull story from being any more uninspired than it is. I mean, since he never wrote the screenplay, it was a bunch of other writers that wrote the screenplay that clearly aren't half as talented at writing screenplays as he is. And the movie's villains are incredibly lackluster. Lord Nuke, the main antagonist, he is the definition of Aardman's most forgettable villain ever. When in the library of great Aardman villains like Mrs. Tweezy, Victor Quatermain, Preston, Feathers McGraw, the Toad, Lord Nuke would be kicked out of the club. Despite Tom Hiddleston's best efforts, his design is bland, and his motive is he's just trying to prevent a bunch of cavemen from winning a football match. That's it. How unintimidating. And the movie's protagonist, Doug, is weak. He's just the generic underdog. I didn't give a shit about him. He's like the earliest kind of protagonist that we see in stories, pun intended. And me and my family aren't football fans in the slightest, so a football story would never have struck a chord with us. Like, there's one moment when the movie deceives you into thinking one of the characters has died, but then they're like, nah, they're fine. You know what I mean. There's no suspense in this movie, and Aardman are just beyond standard comedy movies. They push the boundaries. The greatest animated movies that aren't afraid to be more mature for the parents and the kids are masterpieces. And since the movie's tone is 100% comedy, joke, the movie has a lack of stakes. It has a lack of heart. I really never cares whether the cavemen won or lost the game, because their punishment for losing the game was that they'd be sent to the mines, but even that didn't sound so terrifying. I mean, in Chicken Runner, the chickens, they literally showed chickens being beheaded. That was dark stuff, but there's nothing like that in this movie. So whether they won the football match or not, it didn't seem like a big deal. So, folks, even if Early Man is far from Aardman's best, and I doubt I'd see it again, it was fine for what it was. It was still a great fun family entertainment, and it will keep the younger viewers entertained throughout. I just wish this movie was more than that and attempted to be something special. From Aardman, I expected more. I give Aardman 3 stars out of 5. Good movie. So yeah, not my favourite feature from Aardman, but you all can still see it for a good laugh, and I'm pleased that they have returned to the realm of claymation and have been avoiding CGI lately. Fingers crossed they'll keep that up. Well, I love you guys. Thank you for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this review. And what did you think of Aardman? Please comment and let me know. Please like this video and subscribe. Please follow me on Twitter and on Google Plus and on Instagram. And I'll see you all next time. And remember, movies are us. Bye, guys.